Well, good morning. It doesn't quite seem like August, does it? Uh, I'm going to speak just a short period of time, and I really want to give you a message about hope. Um, as I travel around the state and as I interact with people in Washington, what I see the biggest problem our country has is a crisis of confidence. We're not confident about our future. We're not confident about our leaders. We're not confident about the process of how we govern ourselves today. There's always seems to be a reason why we can't rather than a reason why we can. I was in Miami, Oklahoma this past week, and a long-term acquaintance of mine who has a rather large business there over the past few months had been contemplating a rather large expansion to his business. He now is buying about $45,000 a month from his competitor to meet his contracts and could very well expand his business locally, add 100 to 150 jobs. And he told me he made the decision not to do that because he does not, and this is a 65-year-old man, have the confidence in the future of the country that he would want to put himself at risk for $4.5 million expansion. And to me, that really sums out the failed leadership in our country today. And I'm not talking Democrat or Republican, I'm talking both. The lack of a visionary, positive leadership that draws on the uniqueness of the American experience and entrepreneurship to expand and create opportunities for the generation that follow us. Our country is waiting to grow. Everything is right for us to grow. And the thing that keeps us from growing today is the lack of a communicated strategy that says, yes, we can. I'm pretty big on the negative side of things in Washington, but I'm very positive on the average American citizen and what our potential is given our freedom and our liberties that we have. And the fact that we're not growing as we should, and we're not taking advantage of the wonderful natural resources that we have in our country, that we're limiting our capability through overregulation and interference in the private sector is something that doesn't have to be. We can change that. And so my hope today, as I take questions in the future in just a minute, is that we'll concentrate on what we can do, not on what we can't. The problems are big. Our country's upside down in terms of our liabilities versus our assets, but to the tune of about $40 trillion. We have $40 trillion more in liabilities than we have in total net assets to the country. That's not an insolvable problem. Matter of fact, the point I would make to you is that there's not a problem in front of our country we can't solve. What we lack is courage, moral-based, integrity, character-based, visionary leadership. And if we had that today, whether it be at the city, state, county, municipal, or federal level, you would see a completely different dynamic. We're kind of like the depressed person that can't get out of the funk. And what I think it's time is for a little electroshock therapy for us to say, what do we really have? And what do we do with it? And the other thing that I would remind you of is, although we have lots of disagreements in our country, if you think about it, about 90% of everything else we agree on. And so the press tends to concentrate on where we disagree. The new media, as well as the 24/7 news cycle, concentrates on where we disagree. And I think we need to start refocusing on what we agree on. And we need to put people in positions that will give us the hope that is ours, the promise that is ours, and that will lead us to take advantage of this unique system of government that we have. So with that, which is very different from my normal note, let's take some questions and try to answer your questions if we can.